So one of the craziest products you guys recently released was Nano Banana. Can you show us the insider view, the best ways to use Nano Banana?
Absolutely. It's funny. I actually have a side project going on at the moment, which is 99 things to Nano Banana about, because I found that the more time I spend playing around with this model, the more I just discover what it's capable of doing, and it makes you think in different ways. So I'm going to just jump over to a few examples and then happy to share these with folks as well, because there's a lot to go into here. So this is my work in progress deck. But let me just breeze through a few of them and then we'll jump into some actual examples. So you'll notice right at the beginning, like you can just rotate objects that are already in an image. You
Yeah.
can add info pieces or info boxes to things. I'm just going to scroll through a few. This one I love. You can take any sketch and actually transform it into an art piece now. And I think this is really interesting because you're going from something that you have a say in how it should look, but I don't have the skills to make a beautiful watercolor blotchy art piece in like 10 seconds. Turns out Nano Banana does. Um, I think what's also really cool about this is its ability to understand world, like the world model that's underneath it. So this one's really
Yeah.
cool. I simply asked it to show me what each of these images would look like in winter. That was kind of the open-ended prompt, and you'll notice that I'm from Toronto, so that's that first image there. In winter in Toronto, there's a lot of snow. The Painted Ladies in San Francisco, however, do not get snow in winter. And so the model is not only able to edit the image, it's able to actually infer what it should look like in that season. And that was one of those moments where you just start to realize the possibilities as all of these multimodal capabilities come together. This one continues to blow people away. It's the digital transformation of old photographs, and I'll show you a demo of that in a second. This one's really cool. This one actually took the three models on the left-hand side here. I simply gave it an image, showed it where to place them by picture or circles that mapped the colors of their outfits, and told them the position it should be in, and it was able to just understand all of that and generate the image that you had on the right.
Wow.
In
They
fact, that diagram from earlier, I actually used Nano Banana to help me edit that first one and transform it into that fun visual metaphor that you saw.
Yeah, I want to see how to prompt it correctly.
Okay, this is a picture of my grandparents actually on their wedding day. So I'm going to take this image right here and I am going to put it into a chat with Nano Banana. And then this is a prompt that I actually spent a little bit of time figuring out. And that's one of the things I would say is when you're playing around with these models, if it doesn't work out the first time, keep playing around with things and adjusting it until you get it just right. But I've included all the prompts in the examples that I've sent out so far. So you can see that it's a pretty lengthy prompt here right now, but it is going to turn this black and white image into a color image. So we'll just
Can
give
you
it
break
a
down the
second.
prompt for us?
Yeah, so this one I ended up, you'll notice like I actually use Gemini Pro to help me figure out what the prompts are. So that's a good kind of trick is if the image doesn't turn out exactly the way you want, copy that image, copy your original prompt, put it into Gemini and just ask it like, how would you adjust this prompt knowing that like the output didn't quite turn out the way I wanted in these specific ways. So in this case, I talked about how I wanted vibrant saturated colors, and this kind of goes into a little bit of detail there. Then it focuses on the lighting transformation of the photo. Then it makes sure to continue to lean into that hyper realistic detail and texture. And then lastly, this one has a play around with, using modern camera and lens optics. When going from old photos to new photos, you want it to feel like it was taken from a new photo, and you're really restoring it from that perspective. And then in this case, I actually did end up having some negative prompts that Gemini helped me come up with based off of a lot of the things that weren't working out the first several times that I was iterating on this. So as you can see here, this is the fully colorized version
Wow.
of my grandparents' wedding photo.
That's wild. Oh man, this is amazing. And one thing I forgot to ask, some people actually have trouble accessing Nano Banana. How did you access Nano Banana?
So I use Nano Banana in two different places. The first is in AI Studio directly. I have a lot of fun iterating on prompts this way, but then I'll also use it directly from the Gemini app as well. And it really just is a matter of which one I happen to be in for my workflow. But both of them are easily available. I will also say that we launched Mixboard last week, and that's an open-ended canvas, which allows you to also play around with image editing. So that's a third way that you can start to play around with it if you are interested in. And actually, let me just quickly show you one of the experiments that I did on that one. So this is Mixboard, which we can talk about a little later. But in this case, these are the getting started prompts. So in this case, I took kind of a base image or a grounding image here. I really like the style of this painting by Eric Bowman, and I wanted to be able to transfer it to different themes. So I have a hiker, a surfer, a climber. And the way I use Nano Banana here is I took this image and I said, generate an image in the style of this horse painting, but make it of a person winning a race. And it's going to take the style and aesthetic from this, but generate an entirely new image of the subject that I just mentioned. So you can see right here, similar kind of paintbrush and brush strokes, but now we have somebody winning a race.
And what does Mixboard enable us to do that we couldn't do in Studio or Gemini?
So this is more of an open-ended canvas user experience that we wanted to start playing around with. I think that the chat paradigm is incredibly powerful. It's very familiar, and there's a lot you can do with it. But as we start to get more of these multimodal models and we think about what does it mean to visually storytell? What does it mean to brainstorm? What does it mean to ideate?
Very cool.
Yes, you can also do like group uploads. You could take this, and this, and you could say, so I got 3 here, generate, versions of these as black and white sketches. And so it kind of just lets you reimagine what it means to create, brainstorm, and ideate with these AI tools at your fingertips. And there we go. We've got our,
That's so cool.
black and white sketches down below here.
And these are powered by Nano Banana, but in Mixboard.
Correct. Yes.
Cool. I guess if it's possible, let's show people the Gemini way to access it too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and I'll pull up a different example for that. So if we go into Gemini here, you can simply ask it to generate an image, or you can explicitly say that you want to use a Nano Banana based image here. And let me pick a different prompt for you. Okay, this is going to be a really long prompt that I spent a while working on. I was trying out how to take pictures of my pets and my kids and turn them into images reimagined as drone shows. So let's see how this one turns out.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, you can see there's still a little bit of like the image behind it. This is what I mean with playing around with it a little bit, but that's a fun one. Let's actually try and see how it turns out also on an AI Studio quickly. And this is also what I mean by like play around in both of them is what I found helpful. Certain experiences just end up like turning out a little bit better depending on what you're going for. Okay, so in this case, this is how it turned out in
way better.
AI Studio. For this one, yes, there's other ones where Gemini app actually like blows it out of the water, and I'm super impressed. But the reason I also wanted to bring you back here is because the next really fun thing I found is I downloaded this. You can now go to Generate Media and go to our VO model. And this is my like fun hack for you all. I'm going to paste this image directly, upload the image here. And now what you can also do is take it a step further and say, take this drone show image and turn it into a video where the drones fly away to the next formation. And
Oh, wow.
it's going to take a few minutes. We can come back to it in a bit, but what you'll end up seeing is the dog literally coming to life as a drone show. And in one version where I did it, my dog's tail started wagging before all the drones flew away. So it's really fun to play around with these things.
Wow. And before we move on to the next one, can we look at the prompt for this as well, just to
Yeah.
get some learnings on how that was structured?
Absolutely. Once again, this is one of those examples where I went back and forth in the Gemini app actually to help me iterate and refine. And so the final prompt ended up coming out with, your core philosophy on awe-inspiring atmospheric photography. This one ended up really wanting to lean into like non-negotiables and then also visual language of drone formation. We have the universal workflow. This was the part I had a lot of time iterating on, which didn't quite nail it in the Gemini app, you'll notice, but like interpret, don't copy. It was really difficult to say, don't literally just take this image and put it in a sky with some drones on top of it, like reimagine what it is. And I think that just learning how to prompt these models is a skill that takes time, but is incredibly worth it. And that is something that I would also encourage people to do is like spend time just trying to figure out how to coax them magic out of these models because it's there, but giving a one sentence prompt is not always going to lead to massive success.
Yeah, garbage in, garbage out pretty much for these models. They can develop really specific styles. You can do crazy stuff like we just saw where they take a picture and they reimagine the shape and a figure formation of a drone show, but you really have to iterate on it in this way. So that's where it's really interesting how big the gulf is between people who are just dumb prompts versus smart prompting.
Yes, very much.
Today's episode is brought to you by Vanta. As a founder, you're moving fast toward product market fit, your next round, or your first big enterprise deal. But with AI accelerating how quickly startups build and ship, security expectations are higher earlier than ever. Getting security and compliance right can unlock growth, or stall it if you wait too long. With deep integrations and automated workflows built for fast-moving teams, Vanta gets you audit-ready fast and keeps you secure with continuous monitoring as your models, infra, and customers evolve. Fast-growing startups like LangChain, Writer, and Cursor trusted Vanta to build a scalable foundation from the start. So go to vanta.com/Akash, that's vanta.com/AAKASH, to save $1,000 and join over 10,000 ambitious companies already scaling with Vanta.